to be in this position for the second year. And obviously this year is quite a bit different. We were just saying that we've never had a principal's coffee in the evening, but we're going to give this a shot, hoping to reach out to more of the parents who are working during the day. So again, we thank you for your time, for logging on. I will do a quick recap of what the PTSO has been working on and how we're supporting the school. And then we have some bylaws that we have to change that we will need a vote on. If you can get ready, we'll just have a yay or nay poll in a few minutes, and then we'll hand it off to Mr. Shinkarik to tell you more about the state of the school. So at the beginning of the year, we do our Phoenix Fund update. This year, we lowered our goal just given the current climate. Our goal was 21,000. You all were so generous, and we currently have 19,300 in the bank with promises of corporate matching that have continuously come in. So through this general fund, we are able to really support the teachers and staff when they have a request. We're able to fulfill it. So we thank you for that. It would not be possible without your generous donations. This also covers the luncheons that we offer to the teachers and staff. And we have a stipend for them every year. So it covers a range of things. And certainly this year we've had a few more things that have popped up. So again, we've been able to take care of those when we get a request. Our teacher appreciation, we've been able to have 3 teacher luncheons so far. We do a monthly birthday bag. So the teachers get in their box a muffin and some treats and a happy birthday card each month, just to let them know we're thinking about them. You might have heard that the media center was transformed into Harry Potter world in December. We set up decorations for the whole month so that the teachers and students and everybody could enjoy that. So we had a fun holiday luncheon before the break, and the teachers did an amazing costume contest, which was hilarious. And I think Mr. Moody won. He was Dumbledore. So that was super fun for everybody. You all knocked it out of the park with supporting our teachers. They really felt the love with the holiday cheer that you all sent in. And we were able to give very generous gifts to them this holiday season for all the work that they've been doing. So we truly appreciate that support, continuous support from you all. We were able to help the school fund a new floor for the collaboration room. A new flooring doesn't sound expensive until you look at square footage, and I've learned a ton on just the cost of these things. So we've been able to do some additional things that have been needed just for the school being in this new building. So another thing we've kind of ramped up this year, done differently. We never did a ton of spirit nights at Mount Morn, but at Brawley IB, we've wanted to engage the community and also help our restaurants. And so you've seen quite a few more spirit nights. And this has also helped us raise a bit more money. We've raised over $850 so far. So please look for a survey asking for your input for the end of the year. So moving forward, we will have a showcasing of the arts. It will look differently this year. We are working on that. We have a meeting with the art teachers next week. So be on the lookout for that. It will happen in some form. But we also have a survey. So we want to get your input for the end of the year and also next year's PTSO efforts. So the next spirit nights, I just made a slide. We've got McAllister's, who supplied our luncheon for the December luncheon, and it was amazing. So please mark your calendars for February 10th to go to McAllister's. And then also we're going to do Monsoon and the Sumo Shack again, February 24th. So you do not have to cook those nights. Come out and support. You can order online and help the school as well. So one big thing we did in this large school now, the teachers each have different wings. So there's a 6th grade wing, the 7th, the 8th grade wing. There's not really a place for them to all come together and see each other like they did in the small Mount Morn school. So Mr. Shinkarik really wanted this morale room. So we transformed this really depressing room into a place where the teachers can come and really just meet. There, I have a picture here of the language arts teachers just meeting on a Wednesday. So they drop in. We made a life-size Scrabble board so they can just put, a Scrabble word up and move along, heat up their lunch and move along. And so we've gotten a lot of good feedback from the teachers, and we just want it to be a place where they can come and relax for a few minutes. They all have planning times. So this is supposed to be a kind of a retreat from their regular school classroom. So one big area where we have now created is we have a snacks section. So we want to offer healthy snacks to the teachers and the staff, and they've really loved this. We already have coffee, so we offer tea and hot chocolate. But we also have a place that we've transformed. So we would love if anybody is interested in helping provide snacks for teachers, we will create a sign up genius for parents to send in healthy snacks. We've listed some ideas that the teachers have already, we've gotten their feedback on. So this is just a way that you can help let your teachers know that you support them. And we will have a sign up that says snacks provided by X family if you want to be recognized. If not, it's totally anonymous. But this is just an easy way to help our teachers who are certainly working harder than ever in these unusual circumstances. So one big thing we have coming up, some of you might remember Michelle Eichert. She has come twice actually to speak to our parents. She wrote Michelle in the Middle, and she has a new book coming out called 14 Talks by the Age of 14. So we have booked her to come and do a Zoom with 100 families. So we will have a registration link to sign up. It's on March 2nd at 7 o'clock. And you can register ahead of time and submit your questions. We have space for 100 families to come. And this book, I haven't read it yet. It doesn't come out until February 23rd. So we will have books on sale for 50 families that you can order ahead of time. So we will also let you know more information about that. But this book really gives parents some tips on how to have really tough conversations. Conversations for parents with 6th graders is not the same conversation you might be having for an 8th grader, right? As they start getting into high school. And so these are just some guidelines to help open that line of communication with your teens. So we hope that this is a useful and helpful event for your family. And we have just loved, she is from Charlotte, but she talks to people around the world. So she definitely knows her stuff. I know I've learned a ton from her middle school makeover, just about how the science of the middle school brain is developing and what we can expect from our kids as they go through these tough transitions. So the last thing I want to go over is just sort of order of business. Um, Mount Morn obviously was our old location. So we now have had to change all of our accounts and um, our tax ID number, just a bunch of paperwork behind the scenes. But we also need to update our bylaws, which are the rules that we have all set forth by the parents for the school. So we have some obvious amendments. The biggest being the Brawley School name change. So we will have a vote at the end of this, if you all wouldn't mind just voting yay or nay so that we can move forward with these. But we've added a mission statement, which is the Brawley to provide support to the Brawley School to meet their goal of inspiring lifelong learners who are responsible global citizens. The PTSO will assist by encouraging parent involvement through volunteer and financial support, improve school morale through campus events and community service, and use financial contributions to provide support for teachers and enhance academic and enrichment activities. The next part, we have simplified our roles. We've eliminated some of the chairpersons we've had. It just kind of got confusing who was doing what. Are they a vice president? And some of this, it actually doesn't matter day to day because we're all working together. But just moving forward, we wanted to make sure it was more of a clear structure. One big additional thing, we need to have online voting because of COVID, and it says extraordinary events, which we're certainly in, that board members can vote online. So in virtual meetings such as this. So if we can pop up the poll, if you all, can I have a motion to, okay, we already have a motion to approve and a second, thank you, to approve the bylaws as they are, the amendments to the bylaws. So while those are all coming in, I know that we have not been able to engage many parents who have wanted to help in some way, volunteer at the school. So we are really looking forward to some sort of normalcy next year moving forward. So we would love if you are interested in helping out in big or small ways. We have some opportunities for you. So we will list those board positions that will be coming up. We have things that you can do from home, other volunteer positions that you can come into the school when it's safe, obviously. And so quite a range. So we encourage you, if you are wanting to help get engaged a bit more in normal times, we certainly look forward to that day. So if you have any questions, please feel free to email me at tbsptso@gmail.com. Oh, 100%. Okay. The motion passes. So thank you for doing that. And I will hand it off to Mr. Shinkarik. And thank you for your time.
All right. Thank you, Ann. That's our first Zoom poll approval. So that's pretty exciting, right? I hope to never do this again, but good evening. My name is Mark Shinkarik. I see the participants here, and I'm pretty familiar with almost all of you. So thanks for joining tonight. I'm going to share my screen here and talk a little bit tonight about some content that I think is probably pretty pertinent and most it seems like we've been discussing these things in every capacity of the world right now, and so no different for tonight. Going to share. I always kind of do a kind of the state of the school, but today it's going to be the state of the school. But the state of the school is really surrounded a lot with COVID. So I think probably on a lot of people's minds is, how has COVID impacted school, and what does it look like, how bad is it, and those types of things. So that's really the um, what we'll be discussing today. So um, I'm going to kind of go through a slideshow here to kind of show that. I think I'd start off by saying our enrollment data. I get this question quite often. Is what does school look like this year? We have about 400 or 536 students right now that are enrolled at the Brawley School, which is up from last year. We thought we were going to be a little bit higher than that, probably closer to 600. I'm sorry, 550 was kind of our goal for the year. And so we're short of our goal. And in reality, we could have probably been at our goal. But with all of the changes that were happening, those that applied and for our rising sixth graders, our current sixth graders, those that applied, we permitted in that made that deadline. And so we started taking students off the wait list, but then things were moving so quickly, and we were building this hybrid system, and we kind of make things more manageable and to serve the students that were at our school and those that were already enrolled. We kind of put the brakes on taking students that were on that wait list, quite honestly, because it was we didn't want to make things more cumbersome for our teachers, and we wanted to make sure that the students that were in the building, that we were serving them in the best way that we could. So we ended at 536. We've been at that number for several months now. We have had a few students that have left for various reasons. I would say, probably 5 or less. So that's been kind of our enrollment for this year. 71% of those students are in the in-person model, and 29 are in the virtual model. And that is a moving number, daily, hourly, sometimes that's a moving number. We've tried to create a process that's as fluid as possible. And we really do try our best as a school. I hope parents feel that way. We try to always build a school that is that tailors to the needs of our students and our families. And so we've created processes, but families have moved in and out of in-person to virtual, and we have accommodated those requests, and we do so daily. I mean, I'm sure I have one in my inbox right now, and sometimes they're COVID related, where a student has to quarantine or a family does. Sometimes it's it starts from something different. A family is a student needs to get back in the building. They haven't found success in the virtual format, and so they're coming back in. And so whatever it might be, that number is pretty fluid, but that is where it stands today. And so I think that's kind of the framework that, or the idea that as we go through the rest of the presentation to kind of understand. I hope you share with me the belief that our teachers have been incredible during this. And just to kind of paint a picture for you, when you have 71% in person and 29 virtual, that's what it looks like on average in a classroom. So if you have, and I'll make the number simple for my math mind, but let's say you have 20 students in a class, half of those students are Monday, Tuesday kids, and half are Thursday, Friday. The Monday, Tuesday kids, there's 10 of them, let's say. And out of those 10, 7 of them are in person and the other 3 are virtual. And so the teacher's having to teach the 7 there. They're having to set up their Zoom and teach these kids remotely. Meanwhile, they have another batch of 10 kids that are doing the independent work that they're also having to check in and help out. So managing that on a daily basis, and especially when it's fluid, like when I said, it's daily that we get these requests for people to go either in or out of virtual or online learning. And the teachers are having to keep track of all of that and manage it. So it's extremely difficult. It's been an extremely difficult year. And I remember back in August, I told our teachers, this will be the most difficult year in your education, in your teaching career. And I think it's proven to be that. And um, so, I think our teachers have done their best to try to manage all of this, and of course they are people too with their own personal stories and things, and they move. I've had, we have teachers on a daily basis moving in and out of quarantine themselves, just like the rest of us. They are susceptible to these things, and so sometimes they're teaching through Zoom themselves from their living room. So, kudos to our teachers for doing the best they can, and I think our school's done well amongst these challenging times, and our students as well too. This is, I can't imagine at 13 years old what the 13-year-old Mark Shinkarik would do in these circumstances, and by and large our kids have been incredible, and so just an all-around effort to make this work. I get the question a lot: what will happen? Do we think we'll continue in this? And I certainly think that this is where we will be to end the school year. We're just about to progress reports, so about halfway through the third 9 weeks. So we have about 1.5 quarters left of the school year, and I don't anticipate any drastic changes in any of this. We're getting some optimism, of course, around the vaccine and what that might hold for us. But I don't think that that's going to change things so dramatically that we're going to be all in person. And, I think that I would say since we returned from the holiday break, it's been some of the most trying times that we've had this year. And yet we've still, our district stance has still been to provide plan B and C to students. So I think that's kind of where we'll end the year. But I've been wrong a bunch of times this year with this whole thing. And so we don't know for certain. So a question we're all kind of wondering, how bad is COVID-19 in the school? Is my child safe? And I thought we could really tackle that by looking at some data. This is a data report that was the most recent from last week on the COVID statistics that exist within our school district. And you can kind of read through their 24 positive staff within the school district, which is a lot, but makes up less than 1% of our staff population. 32 positive students, 31 staff quarantined from school contact, which means they came in contact with somebody at school. 54 staff quarantined from community contact, which seems to be the more common piece there. Staff isolated for symptoms. You can read through this and see all this, but by and large, when you compare that to the numbers and the people that are in there, and a big district, we have about, I believe, 21,000 students, and I believe close to 3,000 employees. That's pretty. These numbers are pretty minimal when you compare it to a large organization like that. So these are the cases and the statistics that exist within the district. I get this email from the district every week, and this is something that I think, and you have the ability. I thought you did. That would be one thing. I thought I could, if y'all, I don't know where that feature is, to give me like a thumbs up. If you felt like this is something that if I shared with parents, maybe in our Phoenix update, would be helpful for parents. I just want to make sure. I think one of the biggest things with this is to be transparent with parents, to understand Yeah, so I figured that was the answer. And I caught that this morning. One of our nurses shared that a school that they're also at does that. Their principal does that. So I will try to add that now in some capacity, sharing this out. This is our district numbers. So the other piece there is well, oh, dang it, where is that other slide? I'm missing a slide. Let me see if I can pull this up. I apologize. I wanted to share with you some statistics that exist as a school specific. And I bet I deleted it when I did that next slide. I'll try to pull that up at the end of the presentation. But specifically as a school, I can share with you even data that existed on Monday, that was as current as Monday, on the number of students that were currently being quarantined and staff members and all of that exists. We've had, every time, I will say it like this, every time that we have a positive case of COVID within the school, and somebody was in the school within the last 48 hours, you get notification of. So there's you will get typically an email, and I send that out, or a nurse or somebody in the district office will send an email out to our families, and they will share out that mass notification, and you get that form letter from the health department, and gives you that whole thing, and it's super impersonal and shares out. That's when a positive case existed in the school, and the student was positive, or student or staff was positive and interacting, and was moving around in the building. Now, if a case were to occur and it wasn't within the building, then you are not notified of that. So if a virtual student has COVID, we wouldn't notify you of that. Over the Martin Luther King holiday, if a student or staff was positive on a Saturday and hadn't been in school, positive on a Monday and they hadn't been in school since the previous Friday, then we wouldn't notify you. If a student is a Thursday, Friday student and it happened while they were not in school, we wouldn't notify you. So you know how many of those letters I've sent to you, and I don't even have that number in front of me, but I would imagine it's been probably somewhere around maybe 5, 6. I know it's been less than 10 that we've had at a school. So those are the number of students or staff that were, I'll call it hot, walking around the building. And that is, those are the ones. Now, we've had other students and staff become positive and had to have quarantined. So the numbers is larger than that, but it's still still pretty minimal when you consider all of this. And I think the number that I am most proud of is, and I talked to Nurse Kim Morris today about this, is that to my knowledge and to her knowledge, we are unaware of any transmissions that have occurred at school. Now, do I know that for certain? I don't. But every one of the positive cases we have all come through community transmission and not within school transmission. And again, I don't know that for certain. But we do the contact tracing when these things occur. And I would say that is pretty, that's more informal data. We don't test everybody, so it would be unfair to be absolute with that. But to our knowledge, there's been very little of that transmission, if any, within the school. And I think it really comes down to wearing a mask, staying 6 feet apart, and frequent hand washing. One really cool thing that I've been excited about is, and I'm a former science teacher myself, so science is something that I'm interested in. Our district has partnered with a group called the ABC Science Collaborative, and it's a group of scientists and doctors in the state of North Carolina that have came together to make data-driven decisions and try to inform schools and provide advice to schools on how to operate within COVID-19. Most of the doctors and physicians are part of Duke and UNC. And I will add that the ones from Duke, I would assume are probably smarter and higher performing doctors than UNC. That was a joke. All right, there's a bunch of districts across the state of North Carolina that participated in this study. And they looked at the first 9 weeks, the first quarter up until somewhere like mid-October, collecting data of all of the COVID cases that existed within within all of these districts. It was a large sample size of data. It was, when you start putting that up here, I told you we have like, I think we have like 21,000 students. It says 16 here because they did a number of students that were in person, but these are the cases that that we had, or I'm sorry, these are all of the students that were in person. And then these are the number of primary infections that happened during that time. So there's something called a primary infection, and then there is a secondary infection. And so this study surrounded mostly looking at secondary transmissions because they wanted to know, is school safe? Is school where the transmission of the virus is actually happening? So 90,000 students and staff attended during that time period. And there were 773 community acquired infections. And through contact tracing, they determined out of that 773, 32 of those infections were acquired within the school. So we call those secondary transmissions, okay? So on average, out in the community here, one person that's infected with COVID would then later infect about 1.1 other individuals during those 9 weeks. So if they would then push that onto what that would look like with our data, we would anticipate 900 secondary infections that would occur. 90,000, you infect one person for every 90,000, you get 900 secondary infections. But because we are enforcing the hand washing and social distancing, there were 32 of those secondary infections that occurred. So that's the data that it exists. So that's positive. That's encouraging data to show that that what we're doing is working. And it's my belief that school is safe. And of course, there are, you can tear this apart, and there are certain limitations to the data that we have here. Again, when we do contact tracing, we don't do mass testing to all of the people. Parents may elect to do that if they choose. We also, this happened in the first 9 weeks, so it happened up until middle of October. We all know that what COVID looked like at Halloween is much different than what COVID looked like at New Year's. Those are two different scenarios. But we're trying to find silver linings and positives through all of this. And I will say that, I feel really good about this. I think most of the transmissions that we've seen, like I said, I don't know if any that have happened within the school. They might have happened with pairs of kids, but maybe that transmission happened outside of school. And I think that's what we've really seen is, and in fact, sometimes I believe that with us having kids coming into the building, that at least 2 days out of the week for 7.5, 8 hours, I know that the students are practicing healthy, safe habits with COVID. And if they weren't in the building, I'm not so certain that those things would occur. Our numbers have shot up since Christmas, and we knew that, we expected that, and that's certainly been the case. To compound that, we've also started athletics across the district, and so we've seen a big increase in that. Most of our schools, our elementary schools, they are in there with all of their students. So if one student in the class gets a test positive, the whole class has to quarantine. So the number of students that have gone into quarantine is much higher. And again, there's still been little transmission, even with all of those students there. They haven't seen the secondary transmission as high. And certainly in a middle school and high school where we are at 50% capacity, we've been, very thankful for that, and with little transmission. So these are a couple of the things, the takeaways, the advice from the ABC Science Collaborative. And I think we're doing a lot of these things. Again, be transparent. And I can do a better job of that as a principal, to make sure that you as parents understand and know week by week what COVID looks like in our school, and how rampant the numbers are. I do feel like you probably feel like you're in the dark a lot, and I'll try to do a better job of that moving forward. Contact tracing and testing. Our nurses, we have two nurses, Kim Morse and Laura Marino. Laura Marino works with us and also works at Woodland. And then also Kim works with us and at Lake Norman High School. Those two ladies have been absolutely incredible. And contact and talk with them every day, and help us from the student side, but also from the staff side. This is number 7, is one that's really been on my mind quite a bit, and that's fighting pandemic fatigue. I think we're all kind of over it at this point, and we're trying to not drop our guard, because this is the most important time to be vigilant. Is coming off a holiday where there seems to be widespread within our community, and then also on the heels of or on the toes, catching up to when this vaccine is going to come out. So daily we're having to remind students about mask wearing and socially distance. And middle schoolers are social creatures, and they come to each other and want to talk and be kids. And so it's constantly having to try to push them apart. And another one too, walk then run. I know one of our, we've tried to be very deliberate and think through all of the decisions we've made as a school. And some of those you may not like, and some of them you may be frustrated with at times. We've tried to build a learning model here that works for everyone. And I know sometimes it's slow moving. I understand your kids are only getting 2 days of synchronous face-to-face instruction per week. We're moving through our curriculum, and I do feel like we're going to finish it. We've taken some pieces out that we determined non-essential. That's probably a bad word to use for this, no pun intended, but not some of the standards that maybe, like I know 6th grade, for example, was looking at pulling some of their data standards out of math, like box and whisker plots, and making sure that they really hit some other elements really tough, or really, really hard. And so we've tried to do that as a school, and I appreciate your patience with that. So that's the ABC Science Collaborative, and some cool things that are happening there, some encouraging news. Not a perfect data set there, but by and large, I will say as the principal, I feel that, and I'm not just saying it to make it's the right thing to say, but I really do feel safe at school. We have substitute teachers that come in that work in different schools, and they'll tell us, I feel safe in this school. Now, some of you parents are virtual and your kids are at home. And I will say, if that's working for you, we appreciate that, because doing that at home is allowing us to do some of the social distancing that we have at school. And if those 29% of students decided that they wanted to come back into the building, I would have my work cut out for me to try to accommodate that and make sure our classes weren't overwhelmed, and that we could still socially distance. So we appreciate that, and are thankful that you're finding success in that, and hope that we can maintain this. We're at like that number 71-29 is kind of a sweet spot right now. And again, we feel safe in the building. I think by and large, our teachers feel safe. And so we'll hope to continue that. So that's enough about COVID. I thought we could maybe share some other news as far as the state of the school is concerned. We're in the middle of our open enrollment process right now. We have 250 applicants that have applied for the Brawley School for next school year. Most of those, I think about 230 of them, are rising 6th graders. Our application window closes on Friday. And we'll sort through all of those applications, and we'll probably be somewhere around 200 sixth graders, 200 seventh graders, 200 eighth graders, for a total of 800 students in our school for next school year. So we're excited about that. If you have a eighth grader, you should have received an email this week about Rising ninth grade counselor coffee sessions that are happening in the next week or two. One with staff at Lake Norman High School and one with staff at South Iredell High School. So we're in the midst of that. And then kind of at the end of February, Miss Morgan, Brooke Morgan, our school counselor, will be looking for commitments from students. And that's, that date that you received in there is where we hope to be. And, but, talk to her if you need extended time, or if you want to have individual discussions with her. She'd be happy to set that up and facilitate any of those discussions. Also, a new piece here, some new staff, some new, some not new, but some transitions that have happened here within the second semester. Mrs. Festino was filling in for Jenny Jones, who's on maternity leave right now. And Mrs. Festino was doing a great job there as a seventh grade and eighth grade math teacher. But her love and passion has always been ELA. Her desire is always to teach literacy. And I think she's in the Zoom today because you know her as a PTSO parent. But she has graciously agreed to take over the eighth grade ELA position. And so we're excited to keep her in a permanent capacity now. So congratulations to Ms. Festino. She's doing a great job there. Mrs. Hoffman has stepped out of our school and is doing an online school as an administrator for a private school. She had a great opportunity there, so we wish her well. So that kind of created some shuffles within the building. The eighth grade math position that was vacated there is a tough one, and teaches eighth grade math as well as Math 1. And that's a very difficult class to teach and to fill as a principal. And so I elected to move Mrs. Bradley, one of our seventh grade math and science teachers who has experience there in that area, up to that eighth grade math position. And she'll be officially taking over that position on Friday. It will be our first official day up in that classroom. Also new this semester, Miss Vogel, Miss Frazier, who's an incredible art educator. So incredible that she's recently been hired at the district office as an art content coach. And she's also going to help support Canvas and do some tech stuff for teachers. So she's got a district position now. And so we were able to hire a great teacher. Mrs. Vogel has taken over the visual arts position. Ms. Vogel just finished up some student teaching at Woodland Heights Middle, but she's local to our area, originally from the Philippines. This is kind of her second career for her. She had been an artist, professional artist, illustrator, had done some things in fashion, in graphic design, really a talented lady. So she's taking over our sixth through eighth grade visual arts position. And lastly, because Miss Bradley moved up to eighth grade, we were able to add Mrs. Salim this week. And we'll send more information because this is really brand new information. She's hope to send out a communication tomorrow if you have a seventh grader that had Miss Bradley for math or science. Miss Salim is originally from India, and she had taught in India in computer science. She has a chemistry background, a very smart lady, and she's going to be taking over seventh grade math and science starting. She's kind of been working in there a little bit this week, but she'll start officially full-time on Friday. So with Mrs. Salim added to our building, one thing that I'm super proud of is in an international baccalaureate school, you're always trying to attract a diverse staff that I think represents the IB philosophy and mission. And I think we've done that with Miss Salim's hire. Miss Salim's originally from India. Miss Vogel's from the Philippines. Of course, we have Miss Principe from Peru, Miss Laux from Colombia, Miss Hager, our Chinese teacher from China, and Dr. Baker, our eighth grade science teacher from Canada. So with the addition, of course, all of our American teachers, we represent 7 countries as a staff. And so I'm pretty proud of that. And that's something that is important to me, and I think is pretty unique for a school that maybe only has 25 or 30 teachers to have 7 of them that were born in another, or I'm sorry, 6 of them that were born in another country. That's pretty cool. Also, wanted to announce here, you should have gotten an email. I know that Miss Becknell sent one out today, but I don't know that if Miss Clendon has sent hers out. But band and vocal music are adding some new protocols. The district, in discussion with the ABC Science Collaborative and some other experts, as well as Department of Public Instruction, have given us some guidance on how to do indoors indoor practicing of band and chorus. And so we took all of those protocols and then we kind of added to them. And we have a plan in place that we hope to start next week to allow us to begin just about 30 minutes per class, not to exceed 30 minutes per class. Both of these content areas. And we had to purchase bell covers, which are like covers that go over the instruments, and a mask that's designed for band, as well as a singing mask for our vocal music students. So we're excited to be able to provide these classes indoors in a little bit different fashion than we've done this year. Our preference will always be to go outdoors. If we have somewhat mild days, we'll certainly do that. If we do have to perform indoors, we'll follow these protocols, and I feel really good about what's in place. And again, to be transparent, we're sending all of those out to you by email. I know Ms. Becknell sent hers out, and I'll check with Ms. Clendon tomorrow and make sure that you have that one as well. So those are some kind of extra news around the school here. And wanted to remind you that we are going to add this video to our YouTube channel. You could certainly email me if you have any questions. But I thought at this time, spend a little bit of time if you had any questions about any of the topics that we discussed today, and be happy to answer anything. I'm going to check on the chat here. If you wanted to put it in the chat, or you can be brave and take yourself off of mute and you can ask them as well. If you hear any talking downstairs, it's my 3-year-old. Any update for weather tomorrow? That's a good question. I got an email today from the district this evening, and they said it seems to be a little bit, the storm kind of came up pretty quickly, but they said it's too early to tell. And I noticed they've been telling us a little bit earlier and the other storms and stuff, but I haven't heard anything about this one other than just telling us that it's too early to tell and they'll let us know as soon as possible. Thank you, Ms. Bryant. Any other questions? Yeah, sorry. There's a question on when the kids might go back to full schedule in person. At this point, there's been no discussion of that. It's my prediction that we'll probably continue in the same format that we've been doing, and we'll finish the year that way. But I don't know that for certain, and we're just taking one day at a time and whatever it holds. But I don't have any knowledge on that, and I would think that we would. Some of the last 2 weeks have been some of the toughest weeks as far as number of students that were in quarantine as well as staff, and again, most of the time it's because of close contact. It's not because of positive COVID. But there was one day last week, I think we had 6 subs in the building. That's pretty tough. Not to scare you, 6 subs that were in the building, and it wasn't like all the teachers had COVID. It was mostly with close contacts. Thank you. 6 subs on a Friday. Mr. Riebling wanted to point out that that was on a Friday. It's bad to have any subs on a Friday, but we had 6. And when they do come in the building, I will tell you, the kids are awesome. The sub, they work in all different schools. These subs want to work in our school. Can you imagine being a substitute teacher in a middle school? I mean, are you nuts? The subs like coming to our school because of your children. There's a lot of compliments there. I thank you for what you just the whole idea of subs wanting to come because of your children. I mean, this is a wonderful place to be, and we got great teachers, great staff, and great students, and a great community. So that's what it makes it work. I did do that, PJ. All right, Ann, I don't know if you had other content you wanted to talk about or discuss, but that's what I have here.
Nope, I think we are done on our end. I just want to thank you for your leadership and all the extra effort you've had to do and the administration has had to do, and the staff, obviously, for this year. So thank you from all of us, truly.
Yeah, no problem. It's a great place. All right. Well, if that is the case, then we will close this up. I'll make sure that we have a copy. I'll provide a copy of our presentation in the Phoenix update, or we'll send that out as a separate email, as well as a link to the YouTube video when that's finalized and completed. And also, I mean it too. I'll do a better job of making sure our numbers are a little bit more transparent. They're not trying to hide anything. It's just a matter of finding the time to get that stuff out to you. But I want you to be informed. I want you to be, feel safe. So, and a shout out to Lindsay Riebling, our bookkeeper, who hosted today and is doing all our technical stuff. All right. Thank you so much for joining us, and hope to see you soon.